Here is a 1978 Telefunken TC 400 hi-fi cassette deck, and this one is mostly functional, as I shall demonstrate. It does power up, and it does play back. Not only does it play back, it also sounds really good. And it also records. Now, here is one of the downsides of this cassette deck. It only has a DIN jack. So I have to use a DIN jack to RCA adapter. When using these passive adapters, you always have to keep in mind the input sensitivity of a DIN jack is way too high for a line level signal. If you feed a line level signal into a DIN jack, you will end up with a badly distorted signal because the line level signal completely overloads the amplifier circuitry that the DIN jack is connected to. So what I have done is I have connected the headphone output of the CD player to this cassette deck. The headphone output of my CD player has a volume control, which I have turned almost all the way down. So it's a very low signal, and this should work. Let's start the cassette deck recording. And as you can see, I can adjust the record levels properly, which I would not be able to do if I was just feeding in a standard line level signal. Of course, I have forgotten to reset the counter, so let's rewind just a little bit and listen to what we have recorded. And as you can clearly hear, also the recording sounds very good. So, does this cassette deck have any problems at all, you ask? Well, there are some problems which my little demonstration unfortunately did not reveal. The record play switch seems to have contact problems because sometimes when switching from playback to record mode or vice versa, there is oscillation or loss of signal, and likewise the record level adjustments seem to have contact problems as well, which is audible when you adjust them. Here is the inside. If you expected this cassette deck to be made in Germany, I have to disappoint you. The power switch was made by Alps in Japan. The motor was made by Sankyo in Japan. All capacitors were made by Nichicon in Japan. All transistors are Japanese types made in Japan. The record play switches were made by Matsushita in Japan. So was this whole entire cassette deck made in Japan? No, I don't think it was, because we have all these little labels in here, like right there and right there. There are labels at the side of these sub-circuit boards, like right there. And these labels are all in German. This one says Einbauchassis Recorder, which means chassis assembly recorder. This one says Verstärkerplatte, which means amplifier board. Also, we have this transformer with cloth-coated wires. This is not plastic, this is cloth, which I have never seen done on a Japanese transformer. And we have two red rectifier bridges, which were made by AEG, which is a German company. No surprise to find AEG components in this cassette deck, because at the time AEG was the owner of Telefunken. So I think This cassette deck, the sub-assemblies were made in Japan, but the final assembly happened in Germany. That's why everything's labeled in German, and that's why we have at least a few German-made components in here. Here is a look at the back of the mechanism. As you can see, the mechanism has its own individual serial number, which I think is another proof that Telefunken did not make this mechanism themselves. I would say Sankyo did not just make this motor, they made the whole entire mechanism, which is a good choice that Telefunken has made, because as we have just seen, this mechanism still works perfectly fine. The belts are in good condition. Fast forward and rewind are driven by these chunky gears, and you know what they say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So let's fix the contact problems in this cassette deck. I'm going to use the Kontaktchemie Tuner 600 contact cleaning spray. So first I'm going to put some down this side. On both channels. Now, as you can see, just to prove, there is no noise. Somehow my can has lost all of its pressure, but there is contact cleaner coming out. So I'm going to put some in through all the openings. Oops. And it doesn't matter if you spill the contact cleaner. Put this into record mode, and now I can get some contact cleaner into this side. Like so. And now we engage and disengage the record mode a bunch of times. That should be enough. And don't worry, the contact cleaner will evaporate from the board without leaving any traces. And here are the record level potentiometers, and very conveniently, these are the type that have the opening in the top, so I can very easily get contact cleaner into there, and again, use enough so that it comes running out the bottom of the component. The stuff that you see turning white on the potentiometer is grease and dirt on the outside. That's not a problem. You turn the potentiometer, that's what I'm doing now. And that should be enough. So now comes the other channel. There we go. Contact cleaner comes out the bottom. Turn the potentiometer. And that should be it. And let's clean the heads. To do that, I'm going to eject, take off the cassette door. That does come out of the way, thankfully. Turn on the cassette deck, engage playback, and pause with a cotton swab soaked in isopropyl alcohol. Let's clean the heads. Oh wow. This is really worthwhile. Let's move on to the record and play head. Well, actually, that's fine. Yep, no dirt on that one. So we'll just move straight on to the capstan, which is very dirty. Move on to another fresh, clean Q-tip soaked in isopropyl alcohol. Make sure not to come into contact with the pinch roller with the isopropyl alcohol. Okay, that should be the capstan. So now I am going to move on to window cleaner. This is important. This is an alcohol-based window cleaner, so we're still dealing with alcohol, but it's not nearly as highly concentrated as the isopropyl alcohol, which is a 99% or something like that. I'm going to release the pause. Can you see that right there? The moment the pinch roller touched the capstan is dirty again. So yeah, we do have to clean the pinch roller, which, as I said, I'm going to do with window cleaner, which is diluted alcohol, so it's not as harsh on the rubber. Yep, I would say that is worthwhile. Now, you have to know when to stop. As you can see, we keep getting what looks like dirt off of this pinch roller, but eventually the dirt starts to look more and more black. And that is no longer dirt, that is rubber. So when the residue that's coming off the pinch roller turns black, that's the point when you stop. I'm now using the dry side of the Q-tip to dry the alcohol off the pinch roller, because you don't want to let the alcohol soak into the pinch roller. As I said, the rubber of the pinch roller does not like alcohol. You will certainly agree the pinch roller does look a lot better now than it did before. So I'm going to come back one last time with a Q-tip soaked in isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to go over the capstan. And that's it. That is the tape path properly cleaned. But once again, cleaning the pinch roller with alcohol, and even if it's just the diluted window cleaner alcohol, is not something that you do frequently. You only do that if the pinch roller is very dirty. The first test run after cleaning unfortunately revealed another problem, and from this perspective we can now see the pinch roller is quite shiny, and that is bad. A shiny pinch roller cannot grip the tape properly and evenly. So what can happen is that the tape mistracks and gets wrinkled by the capstan and pinch roller. That's what just happened. It is an intermittent problem. It does not always happen, so I can't demonstrate it. But this shows that the pinch roller needs the sandpaper treatment. So I'm going to engage playback mode. I'm gripping the number 400 sandpaper. It's a very, very fine sandpaper with these pliers, and I'm going to apply a very even pressure, very even across the whole surface of the pinch roller with my finger. And this should not take too long. Let's see what it looks like now. Well, has not taken off a lot of material. Maybe I will have to apply a little bit more pressure. But the rubber of the pinch roller, I can feel that it's gripping the sandpaper a lot more than it did initially. So maybe this is already fine. Now obviously, before we can try this out, we have to clean the pinch roller again with window cleaner to get all the rubber that the sandpaper has taken out off the pinch roller. As you can see, this is very black now. That should be good. So I'm going to dry off the window cleaner alcohol. The pinch roller is no longer as shiny as it was, so this should be fixed. The repair of the pinch roller was successful, so I can now safely play my test tone cassette. This is the cassette checker in the 0 set position. And if I now switch over to measure the speed, you can see it is almost spot on. And this is how it came. I have not changed the speed adjustment. Let's switch over to measure wow and flutter. Telefunken has rated this cassette deck to do 0.14% wow and flutter, measured according to DIN, which is this point on the dial. And as you can see, unfortunately the wow and flutter is a little bit high. And for comparison, here is the WFGUI software wow and flutter meter. And here it is. The Telefunken TC 400 Hi-Fi is ready to go again. I have made one final test recording on this BASF Chrome Extra cassette. Now, while most of the internal components of this cassette deck may have been made in Japan, it still is a German cassette deck, and German cassette decks sound best when used with German cassettes. Thank you for watching.